So I'd like to start with the picture. It's a nice picture, right? This picture was taken on India-Pakistan border at the Thang village, August this year. Thang is the last village of India in the north. Post the flag you see, it's a Pakistan-occupied Kashmir territory. It was such a proud moment for me to see these rugged mountains and Indian army bunkers on these highest peaks protecting all of us. The road to this border was a treacherous one, a narrow winding path. A slight mistake can lead you to the bottom of the valley. Well, despite all the challenges, I was probably the only one who visited the border on a wheelchair. I'm so proud to say that visiting Leh Ladakh, Kargil, India border on my wheelchair was one of the impossible dreams that I was chasing for a very long time, and it got materialized this year. And I'm here to tell you how anyone can achieve their impossible dream. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mandar Salunkhe. It's an honor to be amongst you to share my story. Well, in this virtual world, it may not be visible, but I'm orthopedically disabled individual. Well, in layman's term, basically my legs are as useful to me as umbrella in a Mumbai rainfall. Pretty much useless. So I use crutches, wheelchair to navigate my days. But I wasn't like this all the time. 26th of February 1984. I was born absolutely normal to a lower middle class family. My father was a government employee, my mother was a housewife. I was their second child. Everything seems to be going well for my family until I was 9 months old. I got a huge fever, and the doctor in haste gave me 4 injections into my hips, which led to a polio attack despite I had completed all my vaccinations. I was too weak. I was battling for my life. Can you imagine the plight of my family? They watched helplessly as I struggled to even breathe. Well, doctors had given hopes, but it seems like fate had other plans for me. Fortunately, the damage got restricted to my legs and my upper body recovered. It was January of 1985, about 11 months after my birth. It was declared that I'll never be able to walk again, leaving me permanently disabled. My mother was the most affected. What did I miss? What I could have done better? These questions haunted her throughout her youth. More often, there were fights between my parents and the peace of the house disappeared. Finally, my parents accepted the situation and decided to give me as a normal life that they were giving to my elder brother, which meant schooling. Now, it was very difficult for my father to get me an admission into school due to my disability, and even in 2021, things have really not changed that much. Well, country's empathy quotient is rated based on the way it treats its differently abled citizen, and unfortunately, India has a long way to go on that list. Well, most of us have a very happy memories of those early schooling days, right? But I remember my schooling quite differently. My mother always used to drop me at the gate of the school, and from there on I was on my own. So I crawled my way from the school premises to my seat. Now this made me an easy target for name calling. I was getting ridiculed at. I was getting laughed at. Now Pune is a hot, dusty, muddy place. So my uniform was always dirty. One day I cried all the way back to home. I cried to my mother. I begged at her, "Can you not drop me to my seat like some of the other parents do?" My mother responded in a calm fashion. My mother said, "I can do anything for you, but you must understand that I'm not going to be there all the time to solve your problems. Remember, it's only your uniform that's dirty, you are not. In the same way, it's your body that is disabled, but that's not who you are. You must build your strength." Now, I didn't understand at that tender age what does it even mean, but later I realized What a great lesson she taught me. As a disabled person, you must build your strength to accept how the world looks at you. You must build your strength to fight back. This world will ask a lot of questions to you, and you must have the strength to find the answers and make a place of your own. I am forever grateful to my mother for imbibing such a fighting spirit in me. Well, as I grew up, my classes started shifting to different floors. Apart from bullies, I met my worst enemy in those years, the stairs. My school was a completely different world where there was no one like me. I was the only one who was struggling for basic things such as washroom facilities. I was trying to fit into this world which was not welcoming me. The only way to revolt to the whole situation for me was to not study, and as my grades started tanking, a lot of suggestions from my relatives started pouring in. One suggestion was as outrageous as my father is a fool and he should not take financial burdens for my schooling. Instead, he should save that money for opening a pawn shop or a tea shop for me in the later years. Thankfully, my father didn't pay much heed to that advice. One incident did change my life forever. One time I caught my mother lying about my marks to an inquisitive neighboring auntie. My mother, who is such a virtuous lady, who is always hammering me about being honest and never to lie, here she is lying openly. I felt vindictive. I confronted her in private. Why would you lie when you tell me to be honest all the time? What she told me completely shattered me. Well, she said, if I told her about your true marks, there'll be one more mouth that I'll have to explain. Why am I even putting you into the school? It shook me so much that even as a child I couldn't sleep for a couple of nights. In that turmoil, I decided to change, that I'll never put my mother in this kind of an embarrassing situation. With the help of a teacher from the school, I started to bring little changes in my routine and started to get good results. I did well in 10th, I did great in 12th, and in a short while I had an engineering seat in my hand without really using my disability reservation. I had faced many challenges during my engineering, but even after completing instrumentation engineering, I was rejected to get a job, not due to lack of any academic qualification, but due to my disability. So I decided to pursue my MBA. 2 years of MBA went like a breeze, and I didn't want to hear the statement in my placement week again, but there it was. You are not fit for the job, I was told. This time the reason: you stay 40 kilometers away. A person with your disability won't be able to travel that long. I had to give the company confidence that it's my problem. I will manage it, and if I'm not there on time every day in my probation period, you can take a call. It was January of 2009 when I got my confirmation letter with that company. It was such a serendipitous moment for me because January of 1985, I had lost my legs. And after 24 years, in the same January month, I had the offer letter making me financially independent, or shall I say, I was standing on my own legs again. As they say, life is stranger than fiction. No matter what, I understand disabled person would always get questioned about our inabilities, which is fine as long as we don't get judged based on those challenges. What should really matter is our potential. One would hope that after getting such a respectable job, the ending to this story was going to be a fairy tale one. I mean, sure, I do love those dedicated parking spots in the crowded mall or the tax discounts that I get, but I wish I could have said, I lived happily ever after that. But as often happens in life, the struggle only has intensified. Not many people know where I can buy calipers or where I can customize my wheelchair, which isn't a fashion accessory but an essential equipment for me. Not many people know about the disabled friendly schools or colleges in the city. Even the airline staffs are not aware about the law that wheelchair weight is not to be considered as a baggage weight. Lack of information, lack of enablement is everywhere. Most of the ATM kiosks are not wheelchair friendly, and even though I do manage to enter, I can't type my PIN from a wheelchair. Just by adding ramp to the building doesn't necessarily mean the inclusion is done. We as a society need to understand that every disabled person continues to face a lot of challenges in education, transportation, and employment. Pretty much every single aspect that society considers as a regular life. Look, I was very lucky to have my friends who have helped me throughout my life, and my family who are always there with me and continue to do so even now. I'm extremely thankful to have this kind of life. But there are about 3 crore population of disabled Indians as per the government data, and out of which only 55% are literate and only 5% are graduate and above. So it's my responsibility that I should actively help other disabled individuals to have a shot at this kind of a life. With the same goal in my mind, I have been volunteering on my weekends with a local handicap vocational training institute to help them get a better job. I am also working with my company on how we can include more differently abled individuals with our workforce. You'll be pleasantly surprised by their attitude that they bring in at the workplace. I'd like to leave you with 3 predominant points which can help you achieve your impossible dreams. First, accept your challenge. Everyone fights their own battle. Don't accept no from the situation without at least checking. Why not? Second, decide to change within. To bring any transformation, there has to be small changes within you. And most important, and the third one, never stop dreaming. The one thing about the dream is that you never know when the universe would be listening to you. I share my story with the aim to inspire everyone to break their mental chains and achieve their impossible dreams. Basically, if I can do it, trust me, everyone can do it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an absolute privilege and an incredible experience for me to share my experience on TED Talk. Thank you so much.